So I want to welcome everyone to the webinar today. We're calling it Everything Leads in 2021. Again, we're going to cover the entire lead process, where we should be getting leads. What do we do once we have those leads? What happens if we do not convert on those leads? And then understanding the proper lead flow that each of us need for our business. And before we get started, I just want to thank all the team members at York Factory Direct. We are, we're been in this partnership now with York going on about 4 years, and we're extremely, thankful and we're proud of this partnership. So for everybody at York and who are on this call today and have, brought their customers, we appreciate it, and we're looking forward to, passing on some content today that can help each and every one of y'all's businesses. So with that, let's get started. All right, so a little bit about Cornerstone and who we are. Again, like I said, we've been working with York for the last 4 years, but we are an HVAC digital marketing and print marketing agency. We work with plumbers, electricians, HVAC contractors all across the country. We have been in and out of different contractors' businesses, for the last 7 years, learning their processes, and then, obviously teaching them things that we have crafted that we know helps take their business to the next level. There's no better feeling in the world to us to be able to go in and help a small business owner take their business to whatever levels that they want to, and then watch the ripple effect and the impact that it has on each and every one of their employees and their families that work for them. So we work exclusively, like we said, with HVAC and plumbing contractors. We've helped generate, a lot of money for our customers over the last 6 or 7 years. We have seen our average customers' growth over 150% in the time that we work with them. And we work with several hundred contractors across the country, both from the print and the digital side. Sorry, some technical issues. Okay, so some of the things that we're going to cover today is handling the lead process, right? Understanding how to process in the execution part with the lead. So how to get the leads, and then what do we do immediately that once we get those leads in. We're also going to talk about being disciplined and being persistent on making sure that we're properly following up and not giving up on those leads too soon. And then last, we're going to talk about understanding the proper lead flow that you need for your business based off of your revenue goals. So really, the order for this, we would always want it to go understanding your lead flow first, then generating those leads, handling those leads properly, and then making sure that the follow-up was right. But we learned on the last webinar that the first part, understanding the lead flow, there was more questions about that and more people that were raising their hands. So we are going to save it to the end of the webinar. So this is our HVAC customer journey. This is the step 1 through 4 that we take every single one of a new client that we're working with. And for today's webinar, we're going to be primarily focusing on step 1 and step 2. We're going to talk about how to attract a new lead into our business and how do we handle that lead so that we convert them into a lifelong customer. So best marketing verticals we have here. This wheel is just kind of a visual that we show any new client that we're working with, that we feel that if you properly craft these 7, you can have a very successful lead flow into your business and kind of can turn on the faucet as fast as you need to, depending on what that proper lead flow is. So this is one of the sections that I do want a little bit of engagement. For the people that are on here, what of these 1 through 7 do you feel has been most impactful for your current marketing? Just drop it into the chat, a number, or it could be multiple numbers, but which of these are you using that are helping your business today, or that you continue to use to have success in your business? So just drop it in the chat, 1 through 7 or multiple numbers. All right, so we have a 2. We've got PPC, always a good one. We've got 1 and 7. Absolutely. We've got so many of our clients, Keith, having a very, very solid SEO in their business, and then a referral program built into it has been a huge success. Brittany says 3 and 7. All these are great. And I appreciate you guys sharing that. So we're going to start with the handling of the lead. Okay. So let's assume we're all using steps 1 through 7. We're executing, or we're just using any of 1 through 7. We could just be SEO only. We could just be email marketing only. We could just be doing an amazing job at making sure that our referral program is absolutely outstanding. But at the end of the day, let's assume that we're generating the leads that we need. But now what do we do once we get those leads? So here's the problem with some of our clients, and most that we start working with, is that the leads that are coming in and the web forms that are being filled out, they're not converting. Like 90% of the web forms are failing to convert. But why is that? So something that my sales team here has been doing for the last, say, year is every single time we go to get onto a sales call, we fill out a form fill on the client's website before we start the sales call. And why do we do this? Because we want to be able to see what is the real follow-up time with this person that we're talking to. That's the honest reason, is we were kind of testing the waters to see, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about lead handling. We're going to talk about unconverted lead opportunities on this call, but let's see how they are performing. And then what is their solution? Are we going to get a phone call? Are we going to get a text message or an automated email? What's about to happen? Unfortunately, what we found was we would fill out the form fill, we'd put our real information, our real cell phone number, and then 40 minutes into the sales call, when we're talking about proper lead handling, and we would ask them, who's responsible for it in your business, they could tell us who it was, and they could tell us what their process was. And then we had to break the news to them that, well, we filled out a form fill 40 minutes ago. We still haven't heard from anyone. So it is a real problem in contractors' businesses today. And here's why it's a problem. If you look at this chart here, and you look at the lead response time, and you look at whenever you're following up within the first minute, you see what the percentage is, the 400% response time, and you see that it drastically goes down minute by minute. So, after 30 minutes, we're down to 62%. It's kind of funny that one of these calls that we did, and it was with a contractor that was well over a $15 million company. My director of sales, he got the phone call the next day. And it was just like, there was not like an apology, sorry, we missed this form fill. It was just like, that was their process and their procedure. Like, hey, we see that you filled out a form fill, can we get someone out there for that estimate that you were looking for? So 24 hours later, guys, everybody needs to understand that we live in a world where everyone wants something 5 minutes ago. So if they're going to go to your website, they're going to find you, they're going to read your reviews, whatever it took for them to execute that opportunity, right? Like they reached out, they filled out a form, and you received it. And if we're not following up to them for 24 hours, we're going to miss them. One of your competitors is going to get that lead. And then the other big key that we've seen is when we start asking these prospects that we're talking to, how do you follow up with leads? So if a form fill comes in, or a text message comes into your chat widget on your website, how often are you following up and touching these leads or these opportunities? And most will tell us we'll call once and we're done. Or if we pass that lead on to our comfort consultant or our salesperson, they may call twice. But past that, if it's a service lead, they say, they're going to reach out one time and try to get it booked. And if they don't answer, their CSRs are busy. And I get that. I understand if we do not have the proper staff, or we do not have that full-time person that can just sit around and try to handle leads and contact leads all day long. But look at the numbers here, that as you see, that the more often we touch, the more successful we are on converting that lead into a booked business call into your business. So think about that, guys. And if anybody would love to share in the chats, I'm not looking to call anybody out or expose anyone, but if you will drop in the chat, how many times does your company do follow-up calls? And is there a difference? Do we follow up more on someone that's requesting an estimate than just a basic service call? So Keith asked, I'll just say your name, Keith. Keith asked, how many attempts are too many? Keith, in my opinion, I don't think there can be too many. I mean, I think that if they filled out a form, or they sent in a text message through a chat widget on your site and raised their hand and said, I'm interested in a new system. I'm interested in the offer that I saw on Facebook, or that I landed on your landing page for an AdWords campaign. They took the time and gave you their information. I feel that it's our responsibility to continue to touch them until they tell you, I went with another contractor, or please stop calling me. And at the very least, we should still be able to drop them into a long-term campaign, like an email nurturing campaign, so that they can continue to see our brand, down the road. Because, the way you got to look at this is, you've paid for that lead. You've paid, the industry average says that you're paying $300 to $600 when it's all said and done to get that lead into your business. And for us to give up on it on one attempt, you can't do. So we have one person say 2 to 4, depending on the customer and what they're looking for. If I'm leaving a message, I usually only leave 2 messages. All right. So completely understood. And I will tell you, for the person who said 2 to 4, I think that's a good number. But it would also be nice, if we could get it up to 6, 7, 8, or 9, and then maybe using automation to be able to help us out with that. Because guys, sometimes life gets in the way, and I think we can all relate there. The babies cry, the dog starts barking, we get pulled in this direction, that direction. We may have had good intention when we saw the Facebook ad come through, and we liked that it said, oh, we can get a new system, payments as low as $69. We're running this, end of year special, or, getting rid of inventory sale. And they feel like it's a great deal. They were possibly in the market to get a new system, but then life gets in the way. And, at the end of the day, people expect us, as the owners, to continue to touch and ask them for the business. And they feel like if you're just going to try once or twice and give up, we may not have really wanted, their business in the first place. So thank you for those of you that shared that information there. So here's kind of a good and bad. Some of our best clients, they do these things on the right. They get in touch with the lead within the first 5 minutes. We actually shoot for under 60 seconds. They immediately have an email or text message go to that customer. They have spreadsheets that have real data on there that talks about when the call came in, what that call was about. We'll kind of go over that in a little more detail here in a minute. They answer all incoming calls correctly. They have a designated person typically that handles leads, because this is a real problem that we see when we're listening and analyzing these phone calls that come into our client's business is people not knowing the offers and promotions that we're running for our clients. You know, not every CSR is on board and understands every offer. So this becomes a problem. And what we've seen with some very successful clients of ours is that there is a dedicated person that handles the leads that come in. So whether that's form fills, whether that's controlling the chat widget, but there is one or two people that kind of responsible for that. And they may even be, you know, the lead coordinator. They may even be the person that is following up multiple times or running the system that has the automation in it to properly make sure that no lead goes untouched, that all leads are handled the same exact way with multiple touch points. And then obviously some of our clients or some of us in this space that may not be doing a good job, you know, they're responding to leads whenever they can get there. They're not using text message and email automation to help them with those introductory touch points. They don't have the spreadsheet that they can easily go and look and see where did all of our leads come from? Who were they? What time did they come in? Just in case something was missed, that there's an afternoon strategy call to say, okay, here's the leads that came in for today. Who do we need to call back? Let's look into the system and see how many times they've been touched. So we talked about the lead handling process. We're going to talk about the automation a little bit in section 2 here, because now we're going to talk about the follow-up and being persistent. And, you know, for those of you that may be on this call who's a client of ours, I have been told that I'm very persistent, almost to the point where, you know, I may bother some people. But guys, you know, and I think Keith was who asked the question, or like, how many times is too much? I do not feel that there can be a too much. We just saw from the chart that once you get up to the 8th, 9th, and 10th, the numbers just keep going up. Now, I know we do not have the staff that can just sit around and just keep calling people all throughout the week. But you have to remember, these aren't people that we are talking about might possibly need our services. They're not just somebody in our database. This is people who filled out some type of form, giving you all of their information, whether it was on Facebook, whether it was just a form on your website, but they're telling you that they need help or they're interested in your services. I feel that it's our responsibility to continue to touch them until we're told we don't need your services anymore, or please stop calling me. If not, I truly believe that if and when that person is ready to pull the trigger, they're just going to jump back on Google or whatever source that they use to find another company that can help them. All right, so unconverted lead opportunities. So I think all of us in this business, you know, we've got a comfort consultant, we've got a technician. They both have a job to do. One's trying to give estimates for a system. One's trying to go out and give an estimate for a repair, right? So they're both given those estimates, and then we get these objections. So the comfort consultant, every comfort consultant in this industry has heard, I need to speak to my husband. And from the service side, I think all of us has probably heard, I want to get a second opinion. These are common objections that every single one of us face today. But what are we doing about it? And I will tell you that a lot of our clients, they do a great job from the replacement side. If they go give an estimate to a customer, they may contact them multiple times to see if they're ready to pull the trigger. Sometimes to the point where I've heard some comfort consultants that are making 4 or 5 different touch points. And then that's when the discounts start coming in. They start offering, you know, to lower the price some, or some kind of coupons to help close the deal. But what are we doing from the service side? And I will tell you that I don't know of one of our clients, and I've asked almost every single one of them in different times, what does your technicians do if they go out and give an estimate for repair and all they leave with is the $79 service fee, the trip charge, whatever we call it in our business? You know, guys, that lead cost us a lot of money. And I think we can all agree that our technician is not sitting around waiting for the next day or that afternoon before he goes home. Let me call and check on any of these estimates that I gave out for service to see if they're ready to move on with the work. But what are we doing to make sure that that opportunity, that lead that we paid for, is not going into the trash? Because understand that if somebody does want a second opinion, or someone, you know, is on the fence about, do I do the $1,200 repair, or maybe is it time to get a new system? This is an industry, guys, that we have a lot of jaded people, because there's a lot of, you know, unethical contractors out there that are either pushing nothing but installs, and it's giving, you know, a bad rap to the industry, or we've got the chuck in the trucks that, you know, are just lowballing everyone, and they're doing things so cheap that when you go in and you give an estimate for service, you know, service especially, it's something that a lot of our clients reach out to us and go, you know, what do we do? We fixed this guy's system and we did a great job on it, but now they're leaving us a bad review because they looked up some pricing online and said that they could order the part off of Amazon, and, you know, they feel like they were taken advantage of. You know, this is where we have to do a better job of selling on our processes, our service, our brand, and, you know, letting them know that we're not the cheapest, but what I can guarantee you is it's going to be done right. And we're going to come back and fix anything that may be wrong. And we want you to be a lifetime customer. We're not going to spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes replacing a contactor, charge you several $100s, and make you feel like, you know, wow, I just looked up that part. It was $15. You were here for 30 minutes. You know, this is where we all can get better, making sure that our technicians are spending the time that needs to be spent with each and every one of these homeowners to make them feel that we're giving them that 5-star service, making them feel that they're important to us, and turning them into a lifetime customer. But what if we had a system that we could let touch these customers, both when we convert them initially, right? So they fill out that form fill, and we make sure that there's a text message that goes out or an email that goes out that's basically saying, you know, hey, this is ABC Heating and Air. We want to make sure that you're interested in this new system replacement offer that we're running. How can we get you scheduled? What days work best for you? But then if we go out and we run that lead, but we do not convert it, so that can be from our salesperson that gives an estimate for a new system or for service. What if there was a system that we were using that we could let a couple text messages go out that just says, hey, I was out there, you know, I'm Tom, the technician, and I was out there earlier today. I just want to know if you have any questions about the estimate I gave you, feel free to call me here or send a text message with any questions you have. But what if there was a couple text messages and then an email and then possibly a ringless voicemail drop, where when someone goes to answer their phone, it just drops a voicemail. And when they answer it, it says, you know, hey, this is, you know, Jonathan from ABC Heating and Air. I just wanted to see if you had any questions about the estimate that you were given today. These are those touch points where once we may run out. And then for the example of the unconverted lead opportunity, Here's the opportunity where if your technician goes and gives an estimate for service and doesn't convert and he goes on to the next call, that lead specialist or that head CSR that you have in your business, they could just manually drop them into a pre-built campaign that is touching them multiple times to see if we can get back out there and get that repair work. Because remember, if they're getting a second opinion, at some point, someone is going to get that business. So here, if you would, drop into the chat, how many of you feel that having some type of automation, both following up with the lead, making sure that within the first 60 seconds they're being responded to when the lead comes in, but also from the unconverted lead opportunity, how many of you feel that having some type of automation in place would help the leads that are coming in, help you convert more of them, and maybe even possibly bring in some lost revenue opportunities? If you'll just drop a yes in the chat that you feel that it would help, I would greatly appreciate it. So Keith says yes. I appreciate it, Keith. And you asked a question earlier, how many times is too much? You know, we always understand that human interaction is going to be absolutely, amazing. But how many times can we ask the staff in our office to keep calling and calling and calling or sending text messages? And I'll tell you that, text messaging for our clients has just been a game changer, because the response rates that we're seeing is in the 60, 70, and 80%. People like to be able to communicate via text message. And most of our dispatch softwares that all of us are using today have text message in it. Like they're getting the text message reminder or alert that the text is on its way. So to have someone, some of our clients run a Facebook ad special, and when that customer fills out the Facebook lead form, for them to get a text message 60 seconds later that says, hey, this is Jonathan from ABC Heating and Air. I see that you're interested in our new system replacement. Is there a time this week that works best for you? And do you prefer mornings or afternoons? Like, get the conversation going immediately and get it going via text message or email. And that way we can, if we need to, we can jump on a call and call them right then and get them scheduled. But if we can get them scheduled through a different piece of software and using smart technology, great. Let's get them scheduled so that your team can continue on doing what it is that they need to do. So we have a bunch of yeses here. I appreciate y'all sharing it. All right. So now the last step is knowing your lead flow. Organizing and planning to make sure that we all know where we want our revenue to possibly be at the end of the year. We're planning for that, because obviously we have to have the staff and things in place. So really, like I said, this is step one. But how many of us know the proper lead flow? And what I mean by that is we are in a seasonal business. We are a weather-driven business where we are dependent upon the weather to generate the money that we need for a successful business. So every single month, our marketing and our advertising should not and cannot be the same. So how do we determine that? Well, for us, this is how we do it. We run our clients through a spreadsheet so that we understand their particular numbers for their business. So we want to understand, what is your average install? What is your average service ticket? How many existing maintenance customers do you have? And then more importantly, we want to know their specific numbers. What is their average job cost? What is their overhead expenses? And then ultimately, what do they want their net profit to be with that revenue that they're generating? So we run them through this so that we understand month by month, because in March and April or October, November, we may be doing all of our maintenance, our spring and fall maintenance. So if we have 2 and 3 or 5,000 maintenance agreements, our team is going to have their hands on a lot of homeowners equipment. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to upsell and possibly even do change outs during maintenance season. But for clients of ours who don't have a strong maintenance program, well, obviously we can't approach it the same way every single time. And for one of our clients who has an average install of $5,000, and we have another one that their average install is $18,000, the same approach and the same marketing plan is not going to work. It's not going to, they don't need the same lead flow. So understanding what is the proper lead flow month after month for your business, we feel is absolutely the most important part of leads in general. Because you may need 200 booked calls per month from service. Your guys, you may do a phenomenal job with tech set leads. So your service department does an amazing job at getting your salesperson in the door to talk to these customers. Some of our clients is vice versa. If their team does not get an abundance amount of install leads, they don't have installs because their techs that they have are amazing technicians that can fix anything. And they pride themselves on being able to fix an 18-year-old system that's falling apart, but they can they can put a patch on it, a Band-Aid on it, and they can fix it. So we have to understand all of this before we start working with any of our clients, because the proper lead flow is absolutely crucial. So for us, once we understand the lead flow that we need on any particular month, then it's diving into the data. So here's the spreadsheet that we talked about, having accurate information, when the lead came in, who the lead was, which source it came from, based off of the tracking numbers, and then having it color coded so that we understand and our clients understand that we heard that this was a book call. So now it makes it so much easier for us to understand, okay, we forecasted that this particular client in March needed 156 booked service calls and needed 55 residential replacement leads because their close rate is 50%. So, again, it's all a formula. It's all a forecasted number. But if we don't know that number, how do we understand? Remember the wheel, that had the different marketing verticals. How do we understand which marketing verticals our clients need to be using? And then how aggressive that we need to be with Facebook or with Google. If we're having to spend ad spend, the oil that makes that machine go, how much money, how much oil do we tell our clients? Yeah, you need to be, doing $5,000 a month with Facebook. Well, why is that? Well, that's because we need to get 20 booked install leads because you're closing at this percentage. So we're going to get 5 or 10, change outs from Facebook, or we're going to get 20 change outs from Google or from SEO. If we do not have some kind of formula, the staple of where we're starting, we're just playing a guessing game. So we take the data, we listen and analyze the calls, and then it is pulled into a dashboard like this so that we can go over it with our clients and say, listen, this month we were trying to get 229 booked calls. We were successful. We did it. Your average cost per lead was $56.87. And this is where we got those 229 leads from. 100 came from SEO and 50 came from Facebook, whatever the numbers may be. But we put all this information, this data out there because this isn't the end all. Because just because we hit the lead flow does not mean that our clients hit their revenue goals. So this is where we're going over the spreadsheet, going over the data to say, all right, look, the color-coded calls that came in, we know that these were booked calls. Let's now get an attribution. We need to know what did each of these calls result in. And we don't want that. And your marketing company should never want that to pat their own self on the back. But it's so that we understand if our client is at $2 million and they want to get to $3 million at the end of the year, and we've now reverse engineered all of their numbers, we want to make sure that we're on pace to hit that each and every month. So if we go 2 or 3 months not paying attention to the revenue numbers and we're only paying attention to the lead flow numbers and we're going, great, we hit your leads every single month, but then we get off track and then we're into that next season and then we're going to be playing catch up. So for us, it's really understanding each month how many leads need to come in, and then what did we produce from revenue? Are we on the right track? Great. Do we need to turn the faucet up a little bit on our ad spend on Google, or do we need to turn it down because we had a great month and we're actually overbooked? So maybe next month let's turn it down. Let's focus on the spring's right around the corner and let's get these new ads and campaigns out. And we're going to make a huge blitz in the summer. I'm actually about to hire a couple new techs or installers to be able to handle the lead flow we come in and have come in. These are the conversations that we should be having with our marketing company, because they need to understand your business and the lead flow that you need that's coming in. So here, I would love to ask the question, and if you'll drop it in the chat, how many of us on this webinar right now, when you started this year or currently right now, do you know the proper lead flow, or do you have a forecasted number for the lead flow that you need for your business this year to hit whatever revenue goals that you had? So just drop a yes or a no. I won't call anybody out, but I do want to understand, because I truly believe that everyone understands the revenue goals they had. So I got 3 no's so far, and I appreciate you guys, being open and honest about this. And I will tell you that over the last 7 years, what we have done, no, but we need to do this. That's right. Over the last 7 years, every single contractor I've ever talked to, I say, where's your revenue now? We're at 2.7. Where do you want to be in 12 months? 3.7. They all have these perfectly round numbers. They know where they want to get their business to, but no one's ever properly worked through their numbers, their close rates, their proper, their lead flow. What is their average install tickets? Some of our clients, it's just maybe getting a better install average ticket number. They're at 6,500. They want to grow their business by like 200,000 more, or $250,000. And then all I got to do on this spreadsheet is change a couple numbers and go, well, if you went from $6,500 install to 7,500, look what it does. So then it's just maybe helping them get some sales training in with their comfort consultants to help them get those average numbers up. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to dump more money at marketing every single time. But most importantly, guys, we have to know what is the lead flow for our business. And I'll tell you that we have a client in Anchorage, Alaska, and we have clients in South Florida. And I will tell you that their marketing strategy is completely different. And the lead flow is completely different. One is typically does zero marketing for air conditions at all and has a certain window of the year that they can get very, very aggressive on their furnace changeouts. The other never runs any advertising for furnaces at all and can almost run air condition ads all year long. But then you take someone in the middle of the country where they don't really have 4 seasons, especially here in the South, where I am in Dallas, other than the crazy snowstorm we just came out of. We have 2 seasons. It's kind of like hot and then kind of cold. And depending on the year, we may not have a very successful, winter here. So our clients may have to focus on that March through, August timeframe to make sure that their entire business, the 80-20 rule, that they have to get 80% of their revenue in that 4 or 5 month timeframe. but are we set up and prepared and planned for that? Because do we understand the proper lead flow that we need for our business? So with that, we've covered now knowing the proper lead flow, or at least knowing that we need to plan and organize, not just we're going to spend 10% or 8% on our marketing budget. It needs to be much more detailed. We need to know what is the lead flow that we need in January, in June, and in December. Then you reverse that and go, okay, here's where I'm going to get the leads from. That can be the wheel, that can be the verticals. Where are we going to get the leads from? How much money is it going to take to spend in order to produce the proper lead flow in January or the proper lead flow in June? Then how are we going to handle those leads once they come into our business? And the faster we can respond to them, and the more often that we can touch them in the very beginning stage, the more success that we're going to have on converting them into new business opportunities. And then third is our follow-up. What are we doing once we go out and visit that lead to guarantee or make sure that we've done everything, we've exhausted every opportunity possible, that we either get that service estimate back in the door or we close on that new estimate opportunity? All right, so this is going to conclude the webinar. And then what I'd like to do here is open it up to questions that you may have. And, you know, guys, no question is off the table here. If there's something that you want to discuss about any of the verticals or anything like that that I did not go into great detail about, again, I went quickly because last week when we ran this, there were so many questions, especially about the proper lead flow. So I want to open it up. I want to thank all of you guys for attending today. You'll see on the screen here, the gentleman on the right is my director of sales. This is Drew Elliott, and Drew is actually on the call now. Drew is going to make himself available for anyone that would like to do a free strategy session with him. If you would like him to walk you through your numbers, reverse engineer everything, plug it into that spreadsheet so that you understand the proper lead flow that you need for your business, he is going to make himself available. There is, let's see, this is what I'll do. If you would like to speak to Drew, just type in strategy into the chat. And then I'm dropping in his link now. So you can either drop the word strategy, or you can schedule on his link, and him and his team will work with you. So we have a question come in. What system do you recommend for tracking all of this? Great question. So Keith, you know, we actually use multiple pieces of software to make all this happen. But I would say at the bare minimum, we need to make sure that there's a tracking number on every single marketing vertical we're doing. So if that's a billboard, if it's a radio ad, you're sponsoring the little league, you know, kids little league team, you know, some of this stuff that we may do is just for overall branding. So we may not be looking necessarily for a return on investment on this particular advertising piece that we're doing, but everything should have a tracking number. And then you could literally take your call tracking and just have someone at your office listening and analyzing those calls and either putting it into your dispatch software that you use, or, you know, just building out a manual spreadsheet and having service leads on one side, replacement leads on the other side, and having a dedicated person to make sure, you know, if you put, you know, a process into your business that says, we're going to touch service leads or unconverted service calls, the ones that we got the service call fee only, and we gave an estimate for repair and we didn't get it, we're going to make sure that that's a 48-hour window. We understand that that opportunity, that window is much smaller on repairs because there's something wrong with their system. They need to get it done relatively quickly. So we do not have days and days to stretch this out. So for us, we would put some automation in place and make sure in that 48-hour window, there was going to be multiple text messages, a couple emails, a ringless voicemail drop, all in, the 48 hours. But on a replacement, we understand that people may be looking at the possibility of replacing their system, but they're not in this huge hurry. It doesn't have to happen today. So we can spread that one out much longer. But whatever you put into your processes, we just need to make sure that there is someone, in your business that is their job, is to make sure that those leads have been properly touched multiple times, whatever that is for you. Some of our clients, we put 8 or 9 touch points on residential replacement estimates. Some say, they don't want that many. Some say, hey, use the automation, do multiple touches with text message and ringless voicemail drops. But then after the 5th or 6th one, we want our comfort consultant to be forced a phone call. So we build that into our system. So the 4 or 5 touch points go out, and then the comfort consultant gets a phone call. He answers the phone and it says, you now need to respond to John Doe, lead. Press any button and you'll be connected. And then that comfort consultant knows when he presses the button, it's going to auto call that lead because that is the last step into the process. And then when he finally reaches that homeowner and says, hey, look, I went with someone else, or I'm going to actually wait a couple months. Well, then we can drop them into a long-term nurture campaign where whether it's once a month or twice a month, they're just getting a monthly newsletter or something like that to just keep our brand in front of them. So anyone else that might have any questions? Keith, I saw your comment. I appreciate that. We'll reach out to you and get that scheduled. Does anyone else have any questions about where they should be getting leads from? Because I didn't cover that. We showed the wheel. I kind of showed you where we like to focus on, but there will be a webinar in the future where we'll cover more of the specifics of diving into each of those verticals. But I do not mind answering anyone's questions about that. But whether it's where to get leads from, what do you do once you get the leads, how to properly handle them, the unconverted lead opportunities, what are we doing? How can we get stronger with that? And then the proper lead flow. Does anyone have any questions? I know there was a bunch of no's that we put that we didn't know our proper lead flow. Is there anything that I can help answer to make sure that when you leave this webinar today, that you can work with your team to make sure that you can understand the lead flow that you need for your business? What's a good conversion rate from a service lead to install lead? That's a great question. And that's actually part of the spreadsheet that you were seeing there, because we want to focus, guys, on 2 different aspects of lead flow. We want there to be leads that come in for service, and then we want leads that come in for replacement. But what is that ratio in your business? Because your business is going to be completely different than your neighbor's business. Remember, you got to take in industry average, your historical data, and then also the time of the year. So we like to focus on the spreadsheet of how many service calls do we need to come in this month? And then what is that ratio going to be that we're going to flip the tech set leads? How many of those are we going to flip from a service call into a new system? And there's no perfect math to this. It's only a forecasted number. But we need to understand how many service calls do I need to get booked this month for my client? And then how many residential install leads do we need based off of their close rate? And I will tell you, like here in this market in Dallas, that from the service leads converting into an install, it's going to be completely different in January than it is June. Because I promise you, I'm 100% confident that it's much easier to convince someone to have a comfort consultant to come talk to them about a new system when it's 108 degrees outside in June than our typical weather in January, February. You know, like right now, it's 73 degrees outside and was last week. You know, even the week before that, we're in 2 feet of snow, which is completely rare. But to go to someone's home in February here in Dallas and convince them on a service call that it would probably just be better, instead of fixing their issue, just to have somebody come out and talk to them about a new system. It's much easier to get that ratio in June or July than it will be in January. But for our clients that are up north, that conversion and that ratio is going to be completely different. So we have to take all that into consideration when we're building out this proper lead flow, so that we understand, okay, here we're going to run our strategy and our advertising on service calls, and we only need this amount of residential replacement leads in order to hit that ultimate goal, because our clients want to grow their business this year by $1 million or 500,000 or 4 million, whatever that number is. So I was asked what was a good conversion from a service lead to an install lead. And the quick answer there is it's going to depend on your historical data. Obviously, the crew that you have, do we have good techs that are great at flipping leads? Or do we have just really, really good techs that can fix anything that's in front of their face? And then we need to take in the season that we're in. But this is something, guys, that we can help work with you so that you have a better understanding of what does that proper lead flow look like. Are there any other questions? I think we got this wrapped up right in an hour. Again, I want to thank everyone that was on the call today. I want to thank York and everyone from Factory Direct for having us and giving us this opportunity to be able to speak to each and every one of you. We got another message come in. All right. So got someone that would like to speak to us. Thank you. I see it. We'll pass this on to Drew and his team. So want to thank York. Appreciate the opportunity. Please, guys, feel free. Everyone will get a replay link of the webinar. But if you have any questions or anything pops in your mind afterwards, please shoot us a message. You can go straight to our website. We have a chat widget on there. It'll convert it into a text message. We'll communicate with you, answer any questions that you may have. But we want to make sure that each and every one of you have a successful 2021. 2020 was completely crazy. And we want to make sure that you understand what it's going to take to hit your goals. And we just kind of feel that there's a lot of people out there that are kind of scared to spend, what they need to on marketing, because they don't understand what is the proper lead flow. Why do I need to spend this much money per month? Well, it's because your numbers and your conversion rates and your average install numbers, this is what it's going to take in order to hit that revenue goal. So I just want to lay that out there, that if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I want to thank you guys for your time. You have a great day. We have another webinar coming up March 25th that every one of you will be having an invite. We're going to bring the fastest growing sales trainer in the country will be on the call. So I'm looking forward to that. He's going to share everything that you need to know to make sure that you have the most successful comfort consultant in your business. So thank you, guys. You have a great day. I look forward to talking to you soon, and take care. We'll be in touch soon. Bye-bye.